Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for Model Railway. Going to continue on today's lesson working around the bogie. Going to sort out on this end the underframe so that we can fit the wheels in, and also looking at potentially doing the bolster and the coupling, but we'll see how we go for time on that. So hopefully we can follow along and get this end sorted, and then maybe next lesson look at the other end. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the axle on the wheel sets just so that we know where they're positioned. I'm going to create a sketch on the inside profile, slice through, and we're using the circle tool, using the midpoint, measuring up the axle I've got on here. It's 1.75 millimeters. And we can extrude that across to the other side. If we go 7.5, it's still cutting, then that means it's going into the other wheel, so we do join on that. Click on OK. Check that's gone through OK, yeah. Do the same on the other wheel set. As I say, by doing this, we'll know exactly where these axles are going to be when we put the bolsters in. 7.5, across on that one. Cut. Feature, change that to join. Check we've got everything okay there. What's this? Okay, then just going back and edit this feature, it's not joined. Let's fix that. So we've got, as I say, we've got the bogie then sorted. Patterns now thrown up an error. Edit feature, missing axis. Okay, go around there. That's that fixed. Yep. Okay, so let's have a look underneath at the underframe or the chassis. So I'm going to change from the bogie here to the chassis. I need to look at where the wheels are going to be and draw in a couple of cutouts on them. So I'm going to create a sketch on this base surface. And I'm going to draw, using the rectangle tool, what I might actually do, yeah, if we come all the way across, like that, okay, the dimension from the edge, let's go for 2 mil, that gives us enough pivot there. Make it a little bit narrower, so 1.5. We'll do the same on this corner here. That's going to give us enough pivot there, I would have thought, to get that bogie to swing quite a bit there. Dimension, that edge, the front face, 3.5 millimeters, and also the length will go to 25.5. And then if we extrude this, we've got to come up high enough that the wheels aren't going to be touching. Just turn the bogie off a second. Just going to cut up 1 millimeter initially. And if we turn the bogie back on, we can have a look to see whether those wheels are touching at all. They're not. And it looks like there's plenty of room under there as well now. Yeah, we've got a good 0.5 millimeter or so there, I would say. Just have a quick look at the feature. Could we go much more than that? We could, but I don't really want to make this too thin here. I think I'm going to go and leave it. No, I think I'm going to leave it. As I say, we can see that there's daylight underneath there. There's definite room, and we could actually bring that away slightly by just lifting the bogies ever so slightly away from that. But I would say there's half a millimetre or so distance there. No, actually, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to make that 1.3 millimetres. Gives us an extra 0.3, and it's not going to cut into any of the side here or the top there. That'll still be fine. It just gives us that little bit extra clearance there. Okay, so if we look at getting, do we want the bolster first? Yeah, I'm going to go for the bolster first. So I'm going to create a sketch on this bottom surface. And then I'm going to project in that line and that line there. I'm going to draw a line using the midpoints here across and turn that into a construction line just so we know where that midpoint is. Okay, then we're going to get a circle, find the midpoint, which is going to be on that red line and on that construction line I've just drawn. I think I'm going to go for 7 millimeters in diameter. It's not getting anywhere close to these, that'll still allow it to pivot. I'm going to extrude that to the top edge of the bogey. So I'm going to pick this face here, so they're then going to be matching. Do I want that, or do I want to go a bit further? I'm going to go a little bit further actually. I'm going to go 2.2 millimeters. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap to the bogey. I'm just going to draw a cross on the, so I'm using the inside surface here to draw one. Slice that. Draw a rectangle. That's going to be 0.4 down, because it's going to be 0.3, but I'm leaving a 0.1 gap there. Okay, let's make that 2 millimeters deep. Dimension this line to this top point here, 0.5 millimeters, and do the same that point to that point, 0.5 millimeters. Catch up, and we can extrude this. 7.5 should come all the way across. Join, should join the two parts together. Let's go back into that extrusion. If we just select that edge now. That's the one downside to using that slice, is you can't turn it off when you've got that extrude selected. Okay, so now looking, we've got a nice decent distance between the wheels. That's going across the bogey to give it the strength across the middle there. Next thing we're going to want is go back to the chassis. I'm going to draw a sketch on this inner surface. It's going to be quite thin actually, this circle. So I'm going to create a sketch on that surface. Put a circle in the middle. This is where I'm getting a bit concerned. I'm going to put a bit in the middle here, I think. to give it a bit more strength in this area. So we'll initially dig this out by 3 mil. Let's select that profile, extrude. No, actually, wait a minute. Let's not do that. Let's do an offset tool. Make that 3.2 millimeters. So it'll be 0.2 millimeters because it's going to be 3.2 in total. And then if we select those two profiles, turn the bogey off a second, extrude, node, cancel, finish sketch, turn the bogey back, select the bogey, select those profiles, profile, hold shift down, grab that profile, extrude. If we extrude that down, it should cut through the bogey, which it has. Good. Go back to chassis. We get the sketch back again. We can then select those. Just select the inner one. Don't want the outer one. Extrude that to the same surface. We actually that brings it down to the bottom of the bogey here. I'm just going to actually make that 2.2 just to give it a little bit of freedom between the top and the bottom half. Click on join. That's selected on the chassis, so it's joined to the chassis. Turn that sketch back off. Scroll back up these. Sketch on, turn it off. Minimize those. Okay, so now we've got that bolster coming through. I'm going to draw a hole on the inside. Using the circle tool. We go 1.5 millimeters. And then extrude that. Still on the chassis. Extrude that by 2 millimeters up into the hole. Cut that hole up. That'll be where the pin, the retaining pin, goes on there. Okay, so I think I'm going to add some supports on this bogey. Just swap back to the bogey on the radio button, and let's start by drawing a sketch on this surface. We'll have a line coming out here, which is going to essentially be a construction line. Let's go 1.8 millimeters. I'm just using this basically to mirror across. Let's go 1.5 along, and then something like that. If we define the distance from that point to that point, 3.2, that should lock that in. Extrude that to, can we see it, there it is, the top of the bogey there. Join, and then we can do mirror the feature, so it's just that extrusion. No, it should work. Mirror plane, use that inside face there. That's fine. Okay, then we're going to create a mid plane on the bogey. It's going to go off that face and that face. And then we can mirror that extrusion and the mirror across using that plane. There we go. Now we've just added that extra strength around there because it was only a couple of millimeters wide here, so that's giving it a nice big chunky area. We can turn off that mid plane now. Okay, happy with that. Right. Now what we're going to do about coupling, how we're going to get that from here out the front of the unit. What I might, I don't know actually, let me have a think. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is draw the coupling at the bogey pin before the coupling, and I know what space I've got left here. So I'm going to create a sketch. Again, we're working on the bogey. I'm going to use that top surface of the chassis. And let's just remember how big that is. So that's 1.5 millimeters there. So if we go 1.4, that should give it a nice snug fit. Extrude that upwards by 1.5. That should be a new body. And then we get a sketch on there using a circle again. Find the midpoint. It's got to be bigger than this circle. So I think let's go for 5 millimeters in diameter. That'll give us plenty of retaining area there. Select those two profiles, extrude. And 0.7. We'll do that as a new body initially. I'm going to make sure we combine the correct two bodies. So those two are after, so combining 9 and 10. Let's rename that bogey pin. Okay, so now we've got a bit more idea of how much space we've got, and what we can do with regards to this to get the coupling across out the front. And I'm trying to work out whether I want to go over the top of the axle or come underneath it. Okay, I think I want to come underneath it because I think I want to touch this to give it a bit more support here. So I'm going to select this front face and I'm going to extrude that by 1 millimeter. Then I'm going to create a sketch on that surface using a rectangle. Spun it around for some reason. I'm going to go for, I'd like 2 mil, but that's probably too much. 1.75. Catch up. Okay, then we can take that and extrude that downwards. So we've got to come down below. We'll come down below where that axle would be. The paint actually is in the way to make it difficult to see. I could section it and analyse it, but okay, so I think I'm going to come down by 2.2 millimeters. Then we're going to create a sketch on this front surface. We slice through, create another rectangle. Across, it's going to be 3 mil by 1.3. And then we can extrude that. Just bought it 2 millimeters just to check things at the moment. Oh, look how close that is. That's way too close. Edit that sketch. So that's only 1.3 there. Let's go back to the extrusion down. If we bring that down to 0.2 millimeters lower. think that would probably be okay. Okay, let's just extrude that a little further for a moment. So bought that 2.5 millimeters. Okay, so one thing we'll do is copy the coupling arm we've got in the ferry van here. So let's find the correct one. So it's that one. And create component from body. And then we can copy that. Paste new. Okay, so it's brought it in okay. That's what we want. Let's drag this up into place. And I'm basically going to be chopping this around, so I'm not too concerned with positioning at the moment. Let's spin it 180. Okay, so what do I need? I need to get rid of most of this. So let's split the body and cut the position there. So body to split is that one. I'm going to split it off of that back face. Should have two bodies in here. Yep, I'm going to remove all of that end. So I've just got the coupling pocket itself. Okay, so what do I need to do now? I need to bring this up to the correct height. So let's do some move on this. What height do we look at? So the top of the pocket sits where the buffer beam is. That's probably too high. That sort of height. And the back of the pocket sits where the buffers are. So I'm just looking to have this back surface here roughly where the buffer sits, and then height wise just slightly into the buffer itself. Try and get this centered as we can. So roughly in that position there. Cool. So next thing what I need draw on the back surface. Let's slice through to that. Okay, sketch like this. Just a rectangle. Dimension that point to that point. 1 millimeter. Do the same on this side. And then the height, I'm going to go again 1.2 I think on the height. And then we can extrude that. I'm going to go 5.5. And then we're going to use the loft tool I think. And we're going to loft from the face of the bit that goes under the wheel set that we've just drawn to the back of there. Does that touch? Yes, it does. So that's going to strengthen that front there as well. So if you look there, you've got a trapezoid shape here. Do we want that to be a little bit taller at the top here? Maybe. If we come back to the sketch, edit that. Miles away. Let's make that a little bit thicker, so let's say 1.4. It's only 0.2 millimeter. What I'm thinking is just strength there, really. One thing I'm going to do with the coupling actually is to get the front half of it. There's this little locating pin. I'm just going to make that a little bit longer, I think. Too longer. Just to give it a little bit more. I found that some of them aren't quite long enough, and the paint goes on, it doesn't quite print properly. I think doing that will give us better size and shape. What's happened to the boat? Let's just check what's going on here. Okay, so what we need to do is move the coupling arm, move to group. The target group is going to be bogies. So select target group, move that across, and then we have to combine the body of the chassis with the coupling arm. We also need to select, grab too much of it, so that and that. So control holding those should select all of those and join them together. Okay, so this has been quite a long video. I think I'm going to leave it at this point here. We'll do the other end on the next episode. The concern for me, the other end, are these two fuel tank holders that we've drawn on here. Whether that's going to allow the bogie to pivot enough. But yeah, I think at this point here, that bogie is looking pretty good, pretty robust. So I'm going to leave it at that point, and then yeah, we'll move on from there. So thanks for watching.